welcome to our third webinar in our series on hormone health. We're happy to welcome Lauren Rosenblum, our co-founder and director of CARE. She's going to be here to share a deeper dive into our Wisdom CARE program, our signature program for new members. Just a quick note before we get started, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions along the way, please just be sure to submit them via chat or through the Q&A box if you'd like to ask them anonymously. Without further ado, welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Anne. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our mini webinar today. For those of you who are just meeting Wisdom for the first time, we provide women with virtual care that is designed specifically for the lifelong hormonal health journey. And over the next 20 to 30 minutes, I will be giving you an inside look into the Wisdom Care program so that you can know what to expect if you decide to partner with us on your health. To get us started, I wanted to reintroduce myself. As Anne mentioned, my name is Lauren Rosenblum, and I'm the co-founder and director of CARE at Wisdom. My business partner, Frankie, and I started Wisdom because of our own challenges getting the support that we so desperately needed for our own hormonal health. For over 5 years, I experienced deep, painful acne that seemed completely unresolvable no matter what I tried. I went from doctor to doctor, kept being told that I was fine and that acne was normal, and was put on multiple intense pharmaceuticals that had uncomfortable side effects and only somewhat worked. And it wasn't until I found a doctor who specialized in hormonal testing and hormonal care that I was finally able to uncover the unique root causes of my acne, address them directly, and finally get some physical and emotional relief for my skin. Now, I'm sharing all of this with you because I remember so vividly what it felt like to not have answers or clear next steps for my symptoms. And I know that the challenges that I had with inconclusive doctor's appointments, medication-heavy treatment, and a lack of lab testing, I know that those are all the same challenges that many other women like you have experienced with your health. Over 72% of women across the world have reported experiencing dismissive doctors who have told them that they are fine when something feels off. That's a huge gap in the care that is available to us as women. And at Wisdom, we are filling the lifelong gap by providing women everywhere with an approach that investigates all symptoms, visible or not. So today, during our time together, I'd love to give you all some insight into how we've set up Wisdom to more effectively support women with their health concerns. There are 3 main topics that I'm going to walk us through. The first is why we take a root cause-based approach to hormone balancing. The second is what the process looks like after starting care with us. And the third is my favorite tips for how you can get the most out of your Wisdom care. Now let's dive right in. To best understand the Wisdom approach, I like to explain that root cause-based medicine involves identifying and treating the culprits behind your symptoms, instead of just masking the symptoms themselves. The reason that we want to identify the root cause is because there are usually multiple, there are usually multiple possible explanations for your acne or your fatigue or your period pain. There could be 2 women who come to us with the same symptoms, but completely different root causes. And understanding the root cause of hormone-related symptoms is so important for us as women because hormones impact how we think, how we sleep, how we reproduce, how we feel, how we show up, how we process sugar, and so many other aspects of how our bodies operate on a daily basis. Excuse me. And so the go-to way that our Wisdom doctors can identify the unique root causes of your symptoms is through comprehensive lab testing. By utilizing testing, we are able to help you look at the levels of all different types of hormones. So this includes your sex hormones, adrenal hormones, hormone metabolites, androgens, stress hormones, and other hormone-related biomarkers, all of which can help us at Wisdom identify any possible hormone imbalances. And with this insight, recommendations can be made by our doctors and nutritionists that are specific to which hormones are out of range for you. So this takes out all of the guesswork involved with treatment, so you're not just trying a new supplement or a new diet without knowing if it's the best fit for your specific symptoms. So by using testing to create personalized and targeted recommendations for you, we're both helping increase the likelihood that you'll see improvements with your symptoms and supporting you in gaining a better understanding of your body. We actually believe that you deserve an education around your hormones just as much as you deserve symptom improvement. So our doctors will both analyze your test results for you and explain how each result relates to their recommendations for you. Now, depending on your symptoms, our doctors may order testing for you that's in the form of blood work, in which case there will usually be at least 61 data points that come back in the results with information on your hormones. Or your doctor may order testing for you that's in the form of an at-home test, which could be a urine test, a stool test, or it could be saliva-based. We actually have hundreds of tests to choose from, all of which our doctors are highly trained in. And just like all other aspects of your wisdom care, your testing recommendations will be truly personalized to you based on your symptoms and your budget. So, for example, if you're coming to us with some symptoms of bloating or constipation, your wisdom doctor may actually choose to recommend stool testing for you first. One piece of information that I love to share with all of our new members at Wisdom is that our hormones are actually produced by our gut. So it's very likely that if you're experiencing digestive symptoms, you're also going to experience hormonal symptoms and vice versa. And so while on this topic, I do want to point out that while our doctors and nutritionists specialize in hormonal health, we do support members with a variety of conditions and symptoms. The most common health concerns that we support include painful periods, PMDD, PCOS, endometriosis, infertility, thyroid health, skin health, fatigue, perimenopause, and menopause. However, we do also support digestive health, metabolic health, autoimmunity, weight management, respiratory health, and so much more. And in order to support all of these health concerns, we've actually intentionally hired naturopathic doctors and functional nutritionists who spend approximately 30% more time studying women's physiology in school than most primary care physicians. So similarly to MDs and DOs, our naturopathic doctors do also go to med school. They just took additional courses in natural medicine, which provided them with in-depth training around nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle changes. Now, before we move on, if any questions have come up for you about testing, our doctors, or our root cause-based approach, as Anne mentioned at the beginning, we do encourage you to write them down so we can chat about them at the end. Next, I will dive into what the process looks like when starting care at Wisdom. All of our new members are enrolled in the Wisdom Care Program, which is our signature program that includes 10 appointments that you can use at whatever pace is most supportive to you. Of these 10 appointments, there are 2 60-minute appointments with your Wisdom doctor, 4 30-minute appointments with your Wisdom doctor, and 4 45-minute appointments with your Wisdom nutritionist. And the reason that we will help match you with both a doctor and a nutritionist is because we believe that having both working collaboratively with you will help you get the most well-rounded support. We like to think of our doctors as the what and the why, and our nutritionists as the how. Now, what I mean by this is that your doctor will be the one who helps you with testing to uncover what's going on underneath the surface and why that's going on. And while all of our doctors provide in-depth recommendations after every appointment, our nutritionists are there to help you take the doctor's recommendations even one step further and help you apply the doctor's recommendations to your lifestyle and routine. For example, if your Wisdom doctor helps you uncover that you are gluten intolerant, your nutritionist might help you come up with creative and non-restrictive ways to implement a gluten-free diet. Now, all of our members do meet with their Wisdom doctor first. In this first 60-minute appointment, your doctor will do a deep dive with you into your health history as the two of you review the intake forms that we'll have you fill out beforehand. This deep dive is both to help you form a true relationship with your doctor, but also to help the doctor start to identify some potential ideas for where to further investigate. At the end of your first appointment, this is typically when lab testing gets recommended. It is usually recommended that you complete 1 to 2 different types of lab tests. That's the average for each of our members, but all of the testing recommendations are completely optional. About 96% of our members do decide to complete the testing that's recommended to them, though, so that they can review results with their doctor in their second appointment and develop a highly personalized care plan. However, if you have previous test results that you'd like to share with your doctor, you can absolutely upload those before your first appointment with us so that your doctor can help you avoid any unnecessary duplicative testing. We are also happy to support our members if they would prefer to skip testing for any reason, as our doctors are typically able to provide an equally comprehensive care plan for you. There just won't be as much data to go off of. Many of our members choose to alternate, seeing their doctor first and then their nutritionist and so on. However, the cadence is entirely up to you if there's a month where you feel like you could use a little bit more nutrition support or vice versa. And after every appointment with your doctor and nutritionist, you will receive what we call a protocol. This protocol will include the detailed summary of recommendations for you that are centered around nutrition, supplements, and lifestyle changes, as well as any educational resources for you that your doctor or nutritionist would like for you to take a look at. All protocols will be posted inside your member portal after all of your appointments. Also inside your member portal is access to appointment scheduling, messaging with any of us on the care team between appointments, all of your test results, our supplement store, and an exclusive perks page with discount codes to our most frequently recommended brands. Now, the primary person that you will actually be messaging with between appointments if you need some support is your designated care coordinator. Your care coordinator is really your guide and go-to resource for anything that comes up during your care with us. And they will reach out between appointments to check in on you and see if you need anything. Anne, who actually introduced me at the beginning of today's webinar, she's our lead care coordinator. So if you have any questions about the type of support that you'll be getting between appointments, please don't hesitate to save those for the end so that she can provide some more insight for you. So for any of you who have been listening today and are feeling like wisdom is the type of care that you've been searching for, I want to make sure that you know all of my favorite tips for getting the most out of your care with us before you begin. First, I always suggest booking your first appointment with your wisdom nutritionist while you're completing your lab testing. So this would mean that you'd have your first nutritionist appointment right after your first doctor's appointment. This is an amazing way to start taking first steps sooner rather than later, especially because test results can take 2 to 4 weeks to process after completion. And I found that many of our members do make progress sooner when they choose to meet with their nutritionist right after or soon after their first doctor's appointment. I know that I also mentioned that your care coordinator is there for you between appointments, but what I love to point out is that they're actually there to support you with more than just administrative tasks. So if you're feeling stuck or challenged at any point during your care, our coordinators are an amazing resource for brainstorming ideas or for pointing out some options for how to move forward. We genuinely want to know when our members are having a hard time so that we can help you get unstuck. Now, now with the 10 appointments that you have access to throughout your program, we've seen our members use these at a variety of different paces. For our members who come in ready to rock and roll, they may use their appointments as quickly as 6 months. However, about 85% of our members use their appointments over the span of 1 year. And while we believe that the best pace is something that's unique to each of our members, I do recommend that our members book an appointment every 1 to 2 months at least. Sometimes you might feel that you haven't implemented all of the recommendations from your most recent appointment, which makes it tempting to push things off. But we've found that our members who see us consistently are the ones who stay the most engaged. We also want to be a resource for you for troubleshooting and for brainstorming, so we still want to see you when you haven't made progress. My next tip is sharing your budget with your doctor early on. This allows your doctor to be mindful of costs throughout your care, as each of our doctors are actually great at getting creative with ways to keep testing costs low when needed. Speaking of testing costs, if you're someone who is interested in managing costs, I love to recommend spreading out your testing. So if your doctor has recommended multiple tests, maybe a hormone test and a digestive test, I suggest asking them or asking your coordinator to ask them which test to start with first as the priority and which test could be completed later on during your care. That way you can still get some insight and data now while managing the cost and spreading out the cost of the second test for later on. Each test typically ranges from $200 to $400, but when we are working with blood work, we can often get the cost closer to $100. We do absolutely everything we can to be transparent with our members about costs that could come up throughout their care. And we also do everything we can to help them find testing solutions within their budget. So if membership costs are feeling in reach, but the $200 to $400 per test cost is sounding pretty high, feel free to reach out to us to learn more about testing estimates before you register for care with us. And we're happy to help give you a closer estimate what your testing costs might look like. Another trick for managing testing costs is working with your primary care physician to go through your insurance. If you have a PCP who you think is willing to order some testing for you, your wisdom doctor will always be happy to send you a list of labs that you can bring to your PCP. Now, while we don't currently bill to insurance directly, we are indeed able to accept HSAs and FSAs towards the cost of your care, as well as the cost for your supplements and testing. And if you are working with a wisdom doctor within the same state as you, we can actually provide you with everything that you would need to submit a claim to your insurance for possible reimbursement. Now, my last go-to tip is filling out your optional progress questionnaires between appointments. We send these to all of our members so that we can gauge how you're doing and meet you with where you're at. It is just so helpful for us to know what's working and what's not so that we can all pivot and support you to the best of our abilities. It's also our most useful way to support you in understanding the progress that you're making, so they're definitely worth filling out. And I see that a lot of questions have started to come in the chat during these first 16 minutes, so I think I'm going to wrap up some of my tips now and instead just transition over to answering some of your questions. I hope that this has been helpful for you to better gauge what your wisdom care would look like with us. We know that starting with a new doctor can feel like a big decision, especially if you've gone from doctor to doctor without it being the right fit or without answers. So we wanted to give you this opportunity today to come learn more about what we do. And Anne, whenever the timing is right for you, would you mind please reading today's questions for us?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. And feel free to continue popping questions in, and we can address them as we go in these next few minutes. So let's see. First, could you talk a little bit more about like in-state versus out-of-state care? I know you kind of mentioned it there at the end, but how does it vary if you have a doctor who's not in the same state as you? What would that look like in terms of like, can you use your HSA, FSA? If you could shed some light on that.
Absolutely. So each of our doctors are licensed in at least one state. And so if you're working with a doctor who's licensed in the same state as you, that opens up the ability for them to prescribe pharmaceuticals for you if necessary. That is something that they did study in school. So similarly to your DO or your MD, they could prescribe pharmaceuticals for you. But if you are working with a wisdom doctor who is out of state, which is an option for all of our members, your care will be just as comprehensive and detailed as it would be for someone who's working with a doctor in the same state. The primary difference is just, like I mentioned, the pharmaceuticals. That's not something we'd be able to support you with directly. However, we are always happy to work with you to find a primary care physician who could prescribe pharmaceuticals for you if you don't already have one already. So that's one way that we'd like to support our out-of-state members if that's ever necessary. The only other difference is that you wouldn't be qualified to submit for reimbursement to your insurance. So I mentioned that if you're working with a doctor who's in the same state as you, that is something that we could support you with so that you could try to get some reimbursement for your wisdom membership costs. But that's just one thing that we unfortunately would legally not be able to support you with. That being said, if you're working with a doctor out of state, we're happy to help you manage your costs in a variety of other ways. Does that answer the question, Anne?
I think so. Kind of to piggyback on that, we have a couple questions about financials. I know you had kind of mentioned testing costs. Could you share a little bit more detail about that in terms of like, what if somebody just like can't afford testing, or kind of what other options we can offer for support there?
Absolutely. So testing with us is completely optional. And if you'd like to do testing, but you have a very specific budget in mind, that's also something that we're happy to support with. But we do have members who don't do testing at all during their time with us. And so our doctors and nutritionists are able to provide them with recommendations for what they think might be the culprits or might be the root causes of their symptoms. And so okay, I see that little comment here. You're asking if testing is included in the cost. Thank you for that clarification, Anne. Testing is not included in the cost of our program. It is something that's separate just because we do really want to personalize the testing recommendations to our members' symptoms and their budget, instead of making it something that is uniform throughout our members' care. One option that I haven't mentioned, actually, no, I did. If you would like to go through your primary care physician to do some of the blood work, that's something that we're also happy to coordinate with you. And I'd say that a lot of our members do have success going that route when they're trying not to spend any additional money out of pocket. because when they go through their primary, they're more often likely to be able to use their insurance. Same goes for supplement costs, just in terms of them being included in the cost of the care program. That is something that is outside of the Wisdom membership cost as well. However, all of our Wisdom members do get 5% off all of their supplements when they order them through us. And our doctors, similarly to testing, are happy to help you prioritize your supplement costs so that you can start with some now and add some supplements in later as you have the budget and ability to do so.
Awesome. Thank you. To kind of piggyback on that too, I also did want to mention that if you do partner with your PCP for any testing, our doctors are really great at giving you a very specific list of the tests that they're looking to have run. And sometimes they'll even give you like a little bit of a script or like a way to talk to your PCP about it to kind of get them on board with running the test too, because sometimes they are tests that aren't like traditionally run in the conventional medicine space. So we really aim to provide that support in a way that's going to help you get the testing that you need, get your PCP on board and work in that collaborative way to make sure that you get the support that you need, both from your wisdom doctor and your PCP if you choose to work with both.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anne, for sharing that additional tip.
Yeah. Let's see. I think we probably have time for maybe one or two more questions. So the other one is also related to financials. Just in terms of like the upfront costs, like what if I'm really excited about wisdom and not able to swing the full cost of the program? Could you talk about if we have other options that could also provide kind of an entry level to support?
I'm so glad that you asked. We're actually piloting a new program right now. It's called the Happy Hormones Program. And it's a way for members to come to us and kind of try out what wisdom care would look like. We know that starting with a new doctor can feel like a big decision. And this is a great way to kind of test out that the doctor is the right fit for you, see what their wisdom approach feels like, and get some immediate answers and insights into what's going on with your hormones. So the Happy Hormones Program is a lower cost option. It's about a third of the cost of our signature care program. We do have payment plans available for that as well, just like we do for the Wisdom Care program. And with this program, you would start by doing comprehensive hormonal testing. It would test about 61 biomarkers related to your hormonal health. And after you complete the testing, you would then meet with your wisdom doctor for the first time. And they would give you a really in-depth analysis of what your test results are indicating. Just like our members who are going through the signature care program, you'd get a very similar analysis of your results, as well as some personalized first steps for that are based on your test results. And so that's a great way to kind of test out wisdom care. And then if you do decide to start care with us afterwards, after completing the Happy Hormones program, if you decide that you'd like to continue with us through the wisdom care program, you would have a discounted rate for getting started with us.
Awesome. Thank you. And then just to clarify for that one, the cost of testing is included if you were to do the Happy Hormone program.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Well, I think that's all the questions we have here. So thank you again, Lauren, for sharing this deeper dive into our signature program, the Wisdom Care program. Thank you everyone for attending and asking such great questions. Just as a little teaser for next month, we're actually going to have our very own Dr. Jennifer Godo hosting, and she will be sharing her insights on care for perimenopause and menopause support. So we hope to see you there.
And for any of our attendees who are watching live, or for those who are watching the recording later, please feel free to reach out with any questions. You can either book a complimentary consultation on our website in order to meet with one of our onboarding managers and learn more about how wisdom could help you with your specific symptoms and health concerns. Or you're welcome to text or email us at any time. You can find our contact information on our website as well, and you'll hear from any of our onboarding or care managers with some answers that are personalized for you. So please don't hesitate to stay in touch if you'd like to learn more. And we hope to see you at our next webinar next month. Thank you, everyone.